And this segment is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sports booking app. Not only is it secure, but Deke, we know it's what? Safe? And more importantly, reliable. And if you use a promo code for all the first time, you just want to give them that promo code. You know that code. You know that what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I remember. It's Moats.
That's a good dude right here. He could have kept it a secret, but he did not. So shout out to you for being an honest man. If you use the promo code Moats, you will receive up to $1,000 in deposit bonus money. So what are they waiting on, D?
I'm not sure.
No, like seriously, like, what are they waiting on?
The time is now.
No, but seriously, what are they waiting on?
I don't know.
Go download the app, use the promo code, and have an opportunity to make some money. We got big time ball, man. Steelers go on the road this week, man, trying to get off this 2-game slide. And they're facing a very favorable opponent, man, the Cincinnati Bengals. They're obviously, 2-10-1 right now, and they're they're led by their second-year head coach, Zach Taylor. But this is a team that's been struggling. Obviously, they had some more promise early on when Joe Burrow was still healthy, but since he's been out, that offense has struggled. I mean, as you would expect. I mean, it was already going to be difficult with Joe Burrow in the lineup, but now they had to go with, I believe it was Brandon Allen, excuse me. Brandon Allen. Brian Allen was the former corner here for the Steelers, my dog. But yeah, Brandon Allen is the quarterback that they had used last week, and he's questionable right now. So we're still waiting to find out. It could be Brandon Allen. It could be Ryan Finley.
The return of Finley.
Who we've seen before now.
Which actually, sometimes you say, what's the difference between the second stringer and the third stringer? If Finley's in, I mean, I'm already feeling great about this game, but Finley, I think, is even a notch down from Allen from everything I've seen.
Yeah, and for me, man, when you have two quarterbacks who are going to struggle just based on their physical traits, their physical attributes, and now you talk about a scenario where you could potentially be switching quarterbacks in back-to-back weeks, that isn't a recipe for success. We saw that last year. And even regardless of which one of these guys start, the only reason why I'm not just chalking it up and taking it like, oh, we're going to knock this out, like, don't worry about it, is because we do remember two scenarios where we had it flip-flop both times for us, right? We had it where Mason started out versus the Bengals, were struggling, and we did what? We went to Duck. Duck comes in, hits a throw, end up winning the game. Then we saw it versus the Jets where Duck starts struggling, and then we go to Mason. Mason comes in and has some success, hits a touchdown pass.
He got hurt.
Obviously, he got hurt, but you could just see with both of those guys, even though we had already seen multiple examples of them playing, and you see the inconsistencies with them, while we still, you can't necessarily just come in and, oh man, I expect to dominate these guys because of that. So hopefully that doesn't happen with either one of these guys. Hopefully they look like how they've looked on tape and there's no surprises. But we do remember Garrett Gilbert and what he did to us earlier in the year. That's my whole thing. I'm just like, we gotta say we learned from our lessons.
Yeah,
that's my biggest thing, man.
Maybe I won't be as arrogant. I do feel good. I feel like we're gonna win this game pretty handily. Now, I could understand some of the skeptics where our last however many games the offense hasn't been looking too hot. Yeah. I really do think we're gonna bounce back. I think Ben's gonna be playing really good. I think Deontay's gonna bounce back. I think all of our receivers are gonna bounce back. Just it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a good thing Monday night for just the team in general.
And trust me, I agree. I just wanted to see which cornerbacks were available for them at the time. That's why I was pulling on my computer. So it looks like we're going to be seeing Darius Phillips and William Jackson III. So we're familiar with William, so nothing new there. Mackenzie Alexander looks like he's available to them. And then obviously the safeties, they still have Von Bell and Jesse Bates III. So, I mean, even with that, not a lot. And we talked about this the first time we played him, right? We said not a lot of playmaking on that back end, not a lot of high-end talent either. Not saying that they're not good players, but just to what they're going to be facing, we saw how Deontay really carved them up the first time around. They didn't have an answer for them, and they haven't made any moves to change that. I think the biggest difference right now, we got to just see which Deontay we're going to get. Are we getting Deontay from the first half of that Bills game, or the Deontay that responded well in the second half and was a lot more short-handed? I think that's going to be the biggest thing. This is one of those games where I really say it's more so you're not playing the Bengals this week. You're playing the Steelers. You have to worry about you, builder. Right? Because these past 2 weeks, regardless of what we want to say has played into it, they haven't been on. They haven't been clicking, right? They've all taken turns having mess ups and slip ups, and this is in all three phases. So I look at this as, man, you got this game right here versus an inferior opponent, right? On paper, this shouldn't be a debate. On paper, you already are better than them, right? Personnel wise, they just can't match up with you. But you can't come in with that mindset of, man, we're just better than we're going to do what do we do. No, you got to come with that mindset of, number one, we're going to try to establish dominance on the offensive line. When it comes to the run game, we want to be the more physical bunch. We heard Coach Tomlin critique the Steelers earlier in the week and say that he felt that the Bills were the more physical team. They out physical them for 4 quarters. That's something that you should never say about your team. And for him, he would never say that if it wasn't true. So how do they respond to that? That's what I want to see. That's what they should be focusing on. Man, we got to come here and be the more physical team. Regardless of what's going on, we got to be more physical.
You see, Dalton might be back.
I did see that.
There we go. It wasn't the pack. It was a shoulder.
I was happy. I was like, good. Shoulder good, because Fowler, Peck, they put him on IR right away, man. So that was definitely good to see that, man. But they're going to have to be more physical up front. That's the first thing. And then from there, all right, now we go out and we say, all right, receivers, number one, when a pass is thrown to you, if it hits your hands, you have to catch the ball. That's simple. We don't want any drops. We've been leading the league in drops. We've had multiple performances now with multiple drops. That cannot happen, but we can't fix it. You know, we can't try to get 3 games in a row without getting this first game of no drops. So let's focus on that this game. We're going to catch every pass. That's what we're focused on. Even if it takes away from the run after, I would rather you are less effective with your run after and secure the catch than be great with the run after but can't secure the catch, because one can't work without the other. Whereas we can get away with no run after as long as we maintain possession. So that's the second thing they got to focus on. Then defensively, what are we talking about? Man, okay, Vince Williams, is he going to be available? Is he not going to be available? It's gonna be tight. We'll see, just based on, you know, when he was officially put on the list. So it might happen, it might not 100%. But we do know this: Avery Williamson is going to be available. Marcus Allen is going to be available. Yeah. Those 2 guys played a big time role last week, and also I left them out, but Ulysses Gilbert played well as well. He was the third linebacker in rotation. All 3 of those guys are going to have ample opportunities regardless of if Vince is able to play or not. So with that being said, y'all have to be better, right? We played well that first game, but you always got to grow. You always got to get better. There's certain things that were on tape that teams are going to look to expose you guys on. The sooner you address that and get that cleaned up, less of an issue it becomes. This is one of those games where you correct those things, though. Let's be real. You don't have a true threat from a backfield standpoint. Joe Mixon is not playing, so it's Giovanni
Bernard.
Banged up. Yeah, so we know what Giovanni Bernard is.
They don't even use him like the main guy.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
They have. I can't even name their name. I think the one got P. Ryan.
Yeah, so you have Samaji P. Ryan, and then the other back is it Trey?
I don't even know. I don't know where he came from.
It's Trayvon Williams. Yeah, because obviously Joe Mixon is on IR. So when you talk about the running game, any of those backs we just named, you're not really feeling threatened. Whether it's rushing, now Giovanni can give you a little bit more from a passing standpoint, but they've used him to protect as well. So if you're Marcus Allen, if you're Avery Williamson, if you're Ulysses Gilbert, this is a game where we should be clean in coverage, right? We shouldn't miss any tackles. This is a game that if I'm hug rushing or if I'm blitzing and one of those backs are trying to take on me, I should win every time, regardless if I'm running them over or I'm running around them. But either way, I should win. I should have an effective rush plan versus those guys. And then in the back end, look like you're going to be getting Joe Hayden back, right? That's going to be huge. You obviously have Steven Nelson back. From there, Cam Sutton, we talked about him. He's been balling out. Should be getting more opportunities, right? But either way, you know, okay, on the back end, we should be clean. We shouldn't have another receiver go over 100 yards on us. We're coming off of a performance where, I mean, really, you could say back-to-back performance, because remember, Logan Thomas was right around that 100-yard vein as well.
Sims had a good game, too.
So this has to be the game where you say, you know what? No 100-yard receivers, okay? No 100-yard receivers. And from there, now we continue to build on it. But that has to be the approach. That has to be how you challenge yourself and get laser focused in a game like this. Because the Bengals, I mean, if you're just talking about the Bengals in general at this stage, their record is what it is. You see them on tape. That's not disappearing. They are who they are. They're not a good team. Joe Burrow being gone, that makes them a very bad team. I mean, they're the Bengals from last year. I mean, you get a little bit upgraded receiver, obviously with T. Higgins and AJ Green being healthy, but you are still having the same issues. Can't protect. Now you don't have a quarterback. All right. Your defense is okay at best, but they don't have enough personnel over there either. So you're not going to be able to just motivate yourself by watching them on tape saying, oh yeah, man, I'm really scared about this team. That's not going to work. But the things you can motivate yourself on are the things we just listed.
Well, I think just even coming off the loss, I think it adds all together where, you know, this is a game for us. We try to build momentum, but I think that's easy to do coming off these last couple games, man, where
man.
you're not going to be looking to the Bengals necessarily as a team and saying like, oh, we got them. I think it really is. We're 3 weeks out from the playoffs, so that's why I think it's going to be the perfect storm for us. Where all of it adds up to where I know it's a lesser team, but we are the greater team, just as how we've played, all the way up to this point.
I mean,
but
we're
coming off
ourselves as contenders.
But we're coming off these 2 losses, and we're going to be motivated. Yeah. So I really do. I think this is all going to add up for us.
I agree, man. This and I feel like this has to as well because number one, you still got big time division action. If you're the Steelers, you have a chance to win the division by beating the Bengals because of the Browns losing, which, by the way, was a crazy game. Did you get a chance to, man, that game was dope. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But by the Browns losing that, now you have a chance to clinch the division. Huge for multiple reasons. Number one, you always wanted to win the division. That's a huge, like when we talk about our goals, we say win the division, clinch the 1 seed, win the AFC, and then from there you win the Super Bowl. Like that's typically how your progression of goals will go. So the fact that they're able to get one of those goals checked off this week, that's huge. But what else does that do? Now you don't have the pressure of, okay, say we fall out of that race for that 1 seed, right? Say Kansas City is on a tear and we all right, man, we're not gonna be able to catch them. Cool. That last week, we don't have to worry about, man, we got to go out here and go crazy hard to win this division because we already have it locked up. So you put yourself in the driver's seat for what you want. So if you have a chance to compete for the 1 seed, well, you're still in contention for the 1 seed. But if for some reason you fall out or you don't view it as important, now you got that extra week to get back healthy, which we said at this point in the season, health is more important than winning regular season games because we know once the playoffs start, it doesn't matter if you only had 2 losses in the regular season, but you're not healthy and you get beat in the first round of the playoffs. It doesn't matter. They'll be talking about us like how we talked about Baltimore last year going 14-2 and getting beat in in their first playoff game. So by taking care of business this week, that's going to open the door for them to do so many more things with those remaining games. So to me, I think that's why it's even more significant and even more important that they come out and respond. And that's why I think they will, because anytime you get these type of games, Coach Tomlin does a great job of having his guys prepared to go. They understand what's at stake. They understand the significance of it, not only in the present, but also in the future.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I guess if we're looking at ways where this game could get a little bit dicey, is I was looking back at the Giants game and the Dolphins game because those were surprisingly close.
Yes,
you think of the Bengals team, and we're talking about them right now. They're a terrible team, but how were those games close? And the essence was basically the team beating themselves. Yes. That's really what it was, because in the Giants game, there were some turnovers. There was like a kickoff return and just not letting up the big plays, because I think the one in the Dolphins game, Tyler Boyd had a 75-yard. It was like a little out route or something for like 10 or 15 yards. Took it to the house. So that's really it. It's like no big plays. Don't beat ourselves with penalties.
The receivers are good. We talked about that in the first matchup. They are really good receivers.
Yeah, but I mean, it just felt like in both those games too, man. There was like 20 sacks. I know that's not what the numbers showed at the end of the day, but the amount of pressure those teams were able to get on Brandon Allen and the Bengals offensive line, like we should be able to do that pretty handily. I mean, we talk about our front seven and stuff. It's really just going to come down to, like I said, no turnovers. Can't beat yourself with penalties. Don't give up the random big play on like a punt return or a kick return, or have a slant go for 80 yards or something like that. That's really it, because we should be able to win this game. And that's what it came down to. Yeah. You talk about the Cowboys game, the kind of stuff that, all played together for the Cowboys to still be in it with us. That's how it's done. But at the end of the day, we should definitely win this game.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I look at this game how I looked at the first 4 or 5 games that the Steelers had this year. Remember when people were talking about the strength of schedule? They were like, man, they're playing the Giants. They played the Eagles. They played all these teams that aren't really good. But, I mean, obviously they took care of business, right? But it was more so, all right, well, we had this as an issue early. Let's get that fixed. That was an issue. Okay, let's get that fixed. And we saw them doing some of those things early on, and we saw the success in all 3 phases early on. I look at this game as one of those. It's almost like a redo. It's like, man, we get to have one of those performances where we can get everybody back on track, get the special teams back on, get the defense back on. We've had some injuries, had some moving parts on defense. Get those guys back more comfortable. On offense, all right, we struggled to do this and this. This is the game where we can get that back on track. I think all of those things happen and the Steelers do take care of business. But like I said, the mindset has to be where it needs to be. And I do think they will. I don't think this is a game we talked about, like you said, with the Cowboys, where people were questioning, is this going to be a Tomlin game? Are they going to come out flat and sleeping? No, I don't see that I didn't see that then, and I don't see that happening here either. I just think this is a game where they're going to be motivated because of all the things that me and you have said right here. They know what's at stake, man.
No, for sure. Another thing to watch, though, was kind of weird in the one game. I think it was the Dolphins game. Dude, they stopped them in the red zone like 3 or 4 times, at the goal line. I was like, geez, like that's what I mean. As I'm watching these, I'm like, how the hell did the Bengals not lose by like 20 or 30 against the Dolphins here? That's what it was. I mean, they stopped them at the goal line a couple of times. I'm like, damn. So maybe that's another thing for us to be watching. Like we've had some red zone problems over the past couple games.
We struggled in the red zone.
It's like, maybe the Bengals would be a little bit of a test. I don't know what their whole thing is throughout the whole season and their red zone and goal line type of play, but in that game they kind of stood up. So
and I think we're not in a position. And I'm talking about the Steelers offense. They're not in a position to be picking and choosing who they think are good red zone defenders versus not good red zone defenders because, like we've said,
over the past 3 or 4, it hasn't been good.
We've struggled in the red zone. So I don't think that any of that matters in terms of them being good or not. We know what we've seen on tape. They've produced in the red zone. We know in Pittsburgh, we've struggled in the red zone lately. So I'm excited about that as well. I think that that's going to be something that could be really critical in terms of our development come playoff time, because let's be real, you might get away with some of the explosive plays against the Bengals, which I do think we'll have. As much as I want to see some of the red zone stuff, I feel like we're going to be scoring from, more of the big play variety. That's typically how we've done it this year. And I don't think that the Bengals are going to be able to match up to really keep us from doing some of that stuff. But I would love to get more of those reps of us in the goal line, because we know when you get into the playoffs and you play against better competition, you're not going to have a lot of these 50-yard bombs. Like, it's going to be more of you got to execute 7-10 play drives. You're going to have to find ways to punch it in where you're in the red zone, where you're, on the 5-yard line or on the 10-yard line. That's what I want to see more from this team. And I just don't think the Bengals are going to give us enough so we can get a good amount of reps on that. But if we can get 1 or 2 series down there with some red zone opportunities, I'll be happy, man.
Well, it seemed like you can go from 20 to 20 on them pretty easily.
Yeah.
And we were able to do that in the past. And actually in these games that we lost, we were able to do it.
Absolutely.
It's just we simply struggled in the red zone. Now, I don't know what they did against the Cowboys because that's not the game I watched. I watched the Giants and Dolphins one. So maybe the Bengals completely sucked in the red zone there. But I just saw they were capable of standing you up in the red zone down by the goal line. So that's just, I guess, something to watch for us here.
Yeah, like I said, we're gonna know if they're a bad red zone team or a good red zone team. We come down.
It comes down to us though. Either way, right? That's what we've talked about this whole time.
If we come down there and we continue to struggle, well, then we're gonna walk out of there saying, "Well, I guess they're a good red zone defense." If we go down there and we punch it in 3-4 times, we're gonna be saying, "Well, they're a bad red zone defense."
Or we'd say we're bad. But
that's what I'm saying. Either way, so we're gonna figure it out. But I guess I just want to get us some opportunities down there because we really didn't have those. I mean, think about the Bills game. We had one, I think maybe 2 scenarios where we were down there. Now, we were able to punch him in both times. Obviously, you had the Juju pick route. And then James Washington, it was technically high red zone area, but still the condensed portion of the field. It was only 2 times that game. So it lets you know, like, when you're playing against good quality teams, like, you're not going to have just, 7-8 opportunities in the red zone and you got to cash in. So that was good on their part. But that's what I want to see this week against the Bengals, man. Let's get some more of these red zone. Let's get some more of these longer sustained drives. Back when we played Tennessee, like some of that type, you think about that first half against Tennessee, like that was some of the best ball we've seen the Steelers play all year offensively. Like they looked great. Passing, running.
And then even the Bengals game last time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like that's what we need this week, man. And I think we will get it. It's not going to be easy, but you have to get back to that because, man, Ben hit it right on the head. He said, man, this is the pre-season to the postseason, essentially, right? Even though we're in the regular season, like these last 3 games, this is preseason for the postseason. You fix whatever you got to fix right here. If you drop all 3 of them, I don't care. Make sure that you're ready to go come playoff time.
Exactly.
That's the mindset. And hearing Seven say that lets me know that has not only been communicated to him, but communicated within the organization. So I'm expecting that even more so for them these next couple of games to be focused on those type of things. But like I said, we can't worry about the next couple without worrying about the next first. So that's why I think it's going to be a good performance, man.
Yeah, and depending on how they want to play it for those last 2 weeks, Colts definitely a formidable opponent. Same with the Browns. Man. So it will definitely be a good warm-up for this postseason, I believe.
Absolutely. You're facing essentially 2 playoff contenders back-to-back going into the postseason. So I think that's going to be a huge opportunity. But like I said, I just need we have to take care of this one first. So that way the ramifications from a division standpoint, from a seeding standpoint, aren't as significant when you talk about those last 2. Because worst case scenario, you win the division, you drop those last 2, you're still going to be a top 4 seed. Why is that significant? We already said, well, hey, if you don't want to, you're going to face the Chiefs eventually, but you don't want to have to face them in the second round, right? If you could wait a little while, wait a little while. That's
maybe they could lose against the team.
Absolutely.
Like, you could see them. I don't think the Raiders are looking like they're going to make the playoffs, but
Baltimore, they might sneak in there.
Hell yeah,
a tough
Baltimore,
matchup, man.
the Colts. I think any of these teams could beat anyone. Yeah.
I agree. It's gotten a lot more wide open
because you've seen the Chiefs in the past couple games. You saw them against Miami. They could have easily lost that one. Yeah. They tried blowing it in the second half.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see what happens there.
So it's gonna be interesting, man. I'm excited though. Yeah, I'm definitely excited, man.
What do we got here? Do you have any hot topics? Score predictions?
Well, we want to go score predictions.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go score predictions. Then I'll get some money after that.
Okay, that works for me.
Let's do score predictions.
All right.
Oh, dang. So this is another unique situation, man. We've been 27-13 for so long. Then last week we had to change it because we finally had lost one.
Yeah.
And then we turn around and lose another one. So what do we go to? What's the prediction? How does this work? Should I pick first?
It don't matter, dude. Actually, I'm thinking shutout. 31-0.
Woo!
Yep.
Talk crazy.
Yep.
That would cover too, because I think the spread right now is at 12.5, so that would cover.
I'm thinking shutout. I really do think, specifically, I think Ben and Deontay are going to go off these next 3 weeks. If we play all 3 weeks leading into the postseason, I really think there's going to be a hot stretch there. And, everything we've talked about up to this point, I really think we're motivated. I really think we're a legitimate Super Bowl contender. So we're a little mad. We're a little pissed off. The Bengals aren't that good of a team. This is a right the ship game for us. And I think the defense is going to be motivated too, dude. I really think the stars are aligning here for a shutout. 31-0.
I like it. Well, I'm not opposed to it, man. I have them at 24-6. I think we score well. Obviously, Bob's going to get a little work. I definitely want to see that kick game. You know what I'm saying? The little kick game get back where I like it at. But I do think they'll have a little bit of success. It's something about when you're playing a team and you necessarily don't know which quarterback they're going to run with. Sometimes fluky stuff, weird stuff happens.
Yeah, you saw it a couple times.
Yeah, absolutely,
the Bengals have played these last 3 weeks.
Absolutely. So, and knowing the receivers they have, I do think they will be able to have some success. That would be about the only success they have, though. But it's never going to be in doubt. It's never going to be feel threatened either. Like, yeah, it's one of them games. You know how it goes, man.
Yeah.
Not complaining on it. Either way, it's going to be fun, man. Either way, it's going to be fun.
Monday night?
Yeah, so you got 30. You said 31 zip, right?
31 zip. Yep.
31 zip. All right, I like it.
Yeah.
31 zip, 24-6. So we pretty much, essentially 7 points off.
I was thinking 31-3, but I'm like, what the hell?
I like it. No. If you're going to do it, do it.
Like,
if you're going to do it, you got to do it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying, man? You got to bulk up the chest a little bit, let them drop a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Get after that thing. Big dog status.
Exactly.
I like it, man. And speaking of big dog status, wow. We're giving out our predictions. You heard a couple of things here. First off, you heard us predicting that they would cover, which is huge. But then more so, we were predicting that they're going to win. And we're talking about my friends at DraftKings. DraftKings, America's top-rated sportsbook and app. Not only are they safe, but they're secure. And, Deke, reliability, the thing that we love the most, they're reliable. And for all the first-time users, if you use the promo code Moats, you will receive up to $1,000 in deposit bonus money. So we know that with DraftKings, right? But it's time to talk about these picks that I have right here for you. So the first thing I was looking at was, Bengals and Steelers. They got the spread set right now in terms of total points. They got the total point spread set at 40.5. Go over 40.5, under 40.5. Now that's total points combined. Total points combined.
I like your score prediction.
Total points. Now you picking up what I'm putting down here. All right. So total points combined.
You got to be consistent, huh?
It's 40, 45, or 40.5. So that means the Steelers would need to score 41 or more. Or Steelers and Bengals combined together would need to score 41 or more points. I personally don't feel they will. Deke personally doesn't feel they will either. You should probably listen to us. So what you should do is this. Don't go and take the over when we're talking about 40.5 total points. Take the under. If you take the under at 40.5, you also get odds of -114. Not great, but still good though, right? The next thing we got to talk about is just the Steelers winning in general, right? So we talked about total points between both teams, but the second part is Steelers winning. Now, if you want to take the spread set at 12.5, you're really not going to get great odds if you go plus or if you take the Steelers covering or not covering, you're not really going to get the best odds right there. But if you go money line, now money line Steelers, we already know that's going to be terrible, right? I think it's negative 715, so it's not good at all. But the beauty is this though, when you parlay the two. Now you're looking at plus 114. So you mean to tell me plus 114 because we know the Steelers are going to win, right? That's taking the money line. You think they're going to win straight up. You know you're getting that. And then under 40.5 points, so under 41 points. We just gave you our predictions. We gave you our breakdowns. So everything is lining up perfect for a great get back week because obviously last week did not go as planned. But this week right here, man, you got 2 surefire options. And don't forget, day of the game, look for the player prop bets because I love Ben to go for over 1.5 touchdown passes again this week.